Hello guys, so in this video I will explain you what is the intuition behind decision tree model. So decision tree is actually a kind of where we fit different kind of rules. We get the set of rules based on the variables in the data set to classify the target variable. Means say, take an example. This is the data set where we have the names and their weights and their sex, male or female, and whether the person is from America or Japan. So this is like American, Japanese. Say we are trying to predict whether the person is American or Japanese based on the knowledge, based on the variable, which is one variable is the weight of the person and one variable is the sex of the person. So sex could be only male or female, and weight could be continuous or numerical variable. So we have different persons, and we can see this data set. Let's say that this is kind of a small data set we are taking, and we are now trying to understand what the decision tree can do. And say the purpose here is to predict whether the person is American or Japanese based on these two variables, weight and the sex, not the name. So what the decision tree will do, it will ask some questions in this data and ask the questions from the two variables which we are taking into account. One is the weight and the other is sex. So first it will ask whether the weight of the person is more than 150 or not. So if you see in the data, more than 150, this first guy is American, 150, second also, third also. Only one is Japanese, only 130. Lesser than 150 is Japanese. So is the weight greater than 150? No. Then how many observations are coming? Only one observation is coming out of these many observations, and one more. This is 140, so 130 and 140. So we can say if the weight, based on this data, we can say if the weight is lesser than 150, they are Japanese. So weight is greater than 150, no, that means the weight is lesser than 150. It will go here, and on the right hand side it will be Japanese. So 25% of these will be Japanese. So you can see lesser than 150 will be 130 and 140. These two people are there, 25%. Now if you see the weight is greater than 150, yes, so you see that there are observations here. How many Americans are there? 195, 190, 160, 165. So these are the observations, and two are Japanese here, 165 and 160. So 75% of the data here is American. Now again the decision tree will ask the question whether the weight is greater than 178. Again on the right hand side is no, and on the left hand side it is yes. If it is yes, then the American is 50%. 50% will be American and 50% will be Japanese based on the data. Then again it will ask after this split whether the sex is equal to false. Yes, then American is 25% in this bucket, and if no, again then Japanese will be 25% here. So how do decision tree choose the variable? In the first split the weight was chosen, not the sex. Why? Here we are not talking why it has been chosen, but we are talking how does it usually do in optimization of decision tree. That is called Gini index, which is to be optimized. So Gini index is takes into account the purity of the observations. Say in this bucket the weight is greater than 150, yes, then Americans are 75%. Had this been 100%, then we can say this bucket is completely pure, because there is no impurity in this bucket. So more the purity in the split, more better that split is. If it is 100%, then it is a better split. If it is 50-50%, it is not a good split, because it is having half chances of being both of the categories. So it doesn't make good sense to split the data on the base of that variable and in that condition. So Gini index and entropy and information value, these are some metric which are being chosen by decision tree to optimize while creating a set of rules and classify the target variable. More and more variables we have, more and more splitting could be done here. So we can say this is the first, above is the root node, and then we have leaf nodes which are at the bottom. So these are leaves, 4 leaves we have, and one is the root which is at the top. So at the leaf we expect to be expect the bucket to be very pure if you want a good model. And also it is usually done is we do not create too many branches and too many leaves, because if you create too many splitting in the data, it might overfit. So I will explain later what is overfitting is. Overfitting is basically when you have a data set and you try to learn more of the data instead of learning the pattern in the data, because when you have to test that pattern in the unknown data set, which is the test data set, it may be that the model which you have fitted into the training data, it may not work very well in the case when it is overfitting the data. So we should always avoid overfitting the training data set. For avoiding the overfitting, we usually prune the decision tree, which means that we cut the leaves from the bottom which do not give better results. So it is like pruning from the bottom. We do not create a very bushy kind of tree which is having many leaves and many branches in there. So this is all about that. This is just about the intuition about how the decision tree works basically. So thanks for watching this video.